Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How is everybody tonight? Hope you're all well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Good evening, Roger. Thank you for joining us. How are you? Hope you're well. So then, we are going to be taking a look at a brand new release. We are looking at Dragonbane Path of Glory from Free League Publishing. This is their first major adventure campaign release for the brand new revised version of Dragonbane. And this is actually taking an old classic and bringing it to a brand new audience. So I'm very excited to share this with you. Thanks, of course, to Free League Publishing for providing a copy of Path of Glory for us to take a look at this evening. So what we're going to do is we are going to just take a look at the back of the book, and I'm going to give you a quick sort of summary of my thoughts, but I do need to let you know that, of course, because this is an adventure campaign, it is full of spoilers. So if you intend to want to play this, you probably want to tap out once I give the brief overview. You don't want any of the surprises ruined. But of course, if your games master intends to play this adventure with you, then let them know about the video. Because hopefully they'll be able to get to see a little bit about what the game has to offer, and we'll get very excited about it. Alright, so let's jump to the table and take a look. Here we go. I have to forgive the lighting as it reflects off the glossy hard-backed cover here, but as we go through the book we'll have no problems with that. So here we are, Dragonbane Path of Glory. Let's take a look at the back. Hooves! Come on, there haven't been horses around for years, Pedrina exclaims contemptuously. You're just imagining things. I'm sure of it. They're hooves. With a resigned sigh, Narim too lifts his head from the ground and sits down next to Pedrina by the small campfire. Suddenly, the peace is broken by two huge shapes rushing towards the adventurers with axes drawn. We get glory! The Minotaurs roar, delivering a violent blow with their double axes to each of the adventurers. Coming to the legendary Dead Forest in search of treasure, glory, and a solution to the ancient curse laying waste to the forest, the adventurers soon find themselves embroiled in an epic conflict reaching back to the very foundations of the world. The quest will take the adventurers through the depths of the forest, under the mountain, and into a strange new land where the fate of the world will be determined. Path of Glory was the first major adventure campaign released for the original Swedish edition of Dragonbane RPG, Drakar och Demoner, in 3 installments during 1985 and 1986, The Dead Forest, Gates of Power, and Heart of Darkness. This new edition, reimagined and updated by Free League and the original author, Roger Undhagen, collects the trilogy in a single volume. This full-colour hardback edition has been given a completely new illustrations by David Brasgalla and new cover art by Johan Egerkrans. The rules are fully updated to the latest edition of Dragonbane, and the book includes a large double-sided map in format 558 by 432mm, painted by Francesca Beirald. And there we go. This is the reason why my visa gets declined every time when I want to travel to Sweden. Due to butchering everybody's names on any of these Free League games. My apologies to all involved. Oh, goodness me, goodness me. The only names we found out that I can say correctly are Elvish names. Okay, so, before we get started, my quick summary of what I think about this. I really like it, okay? It is a blast back to the adventures of the 1980s, to which I did play games at that time, so I really do appreciate being able to experience this sort of updated version, even though I never played the original Dragonbane back in the 80s. I can sort of feel that 80s sort of design sensibilities about it. I love how the game is very much focused on combat. There's just lots of combat encounters, and it makes me think of the Diablo video games, and I really enjoy that. So I don't have an issue with it being combat heavy. The production value on the book is absolutely fantastic, as we've come to expect from Free League Publishing. The artwork is outstanding. It is beautiful. You're really going to enjoy taking a look at this. The cartography of the maps is amazing as well. There's so much detail packed into these great big map poster that we've got with the book, and of course inside the covers as well. So it's a great addition. If you are a fan of Dragonbane, you are certainly going to want to pick this up and to play it with your players for sure. So there we go. Positive all round. As I said previously, we are going to be entering spoiler terrain, so if you are a player, this might be the time for you to tap out. But for Games Masters, you stay on. Let's go and take a look at Path of Glory. Alright, let's jump on in. First of all, we've got this amazing cover done by the artist who does all of the work on the Free League's Vaesen range. So the art style is very familiar, and I really, really like it. I like this. It kind of feels near enough like a colour pencil illustration. And yeah, I think it's very, very pleasing. And we'll find out about these two characters as we go through. It's an interesting choice, but I think there's a bit of a backstory to this, but we'll see, we'll see. So then, as I say, we have our first map. We'll look at the poster map at the back when we get to the end, but we already have a bit of a tease here that this is the Dead Forest that is mentioned within the first of the 3 story elements, and we have all of these various locations. As we go through, you'll understand that the way that the game is laid out is essentially, it is a sandbox style of adventure. So we start off in this hub location, and then it's up to the adventurers to basically wander and explore the map, meeting various random encounters as the GM feels free to throw them on in. But as they work their way along paths, they will get to various key locations, and that is where we have larger adventure elements to explore. But I love this art. Like I say, there's so many hidden details in amongst this that you will discover as you're going through. So it's good to have a bit of a keen eye on this map, and I'm sure most players would do when this is put out in front of them. And I do believe that all of the maps that we see as we go through the book, they are available on the Free League Publishing website to download, both as a GM version and as a player version without any of the hidden details. We do have, of course, our credits page here. All of the people who work together to bring the book to life. And we do have a little bit of a forward here from the original designer, Roger Undhagen. I hope I'm saying that right. I am so sorry if I am not. But I think this is fantastic, being able to go back to games that, of course, and adventures that were beloved back in the 80s, and of course bring them back to a brand new audience. Updating them slightly for the new rules, tidying up some of the presentation using sort of modern techniques. I really do like it. As you can see, we're not getting any reflection because all of these pages have this wonderful matte finish to them, and I really like this as a sort of paper stock. It makes it so much easier to be able to read the text, and the layout is consistent with what we have experienced with the core rules and the bestiary. We've looked at both of those on the channel previously. So very easy to read, text is all nice and clear. We have these nice little call outs as we go through, and ultimately it starts off, it gives us the history of what this adventure is said, the build-up of events, and in essence we have a demon that has been fought and slain, and as it is banished from this world, it puts a curse on the land, which ultimately turns into the dead forest. Its heart is actually saved, and whilst the heart is still functioning, so to speak, the curse cannot be lifted. Ultimately, this curse, this heart gets hidden away from the world. There are various keys that are needed to be able to unlock a location where they're hoping to find the heart, and there's a little bit of breadcrumbs to sort of take the players down the path. As they do so, the story is expanded upon, and they become embroiled in this quest because they find that there are other dangerous parties trying to get hold of the keys and ultimately this heart of the demon. More details are, of course, in here. I'm not going to ruin them too much, but what's important, you've got a couple of pages worth of information about that, so as a GM you've got a good understanding of what's happening, and then it's very helpful. It breaks down an overview of each of the three elements, the three adventures that form this campaign: the Dead Forest, the Gates of Power, and the Heart of Darkness. And it gives you an idea of what the players might do in each of those adventures. We have a little bit of an epilogue. It then details the three factions that are playing in this campaign, and then pretty much we get started. So the game itself could be linked into an existing game, the adventure could be linked into an existing set campaign with characters. Now it does advise, where is it? Here we go, experience. Basically saying that we recommend that characters embarking on this campaign have at least 10 to 15 sessions under their belt, at least 3 heroic abilities each, and a skill level 16 or higher. So this is certainly not for new players. But saying that, hopefully you've gone and played all of the many adventures that are available in the core book and in the starter set, and that being the case, you've got a reasonable amount of experience for your adventurers. So we have our adventure opening. It is basically setting the scene a little bit, and ultimately this first part of the campaign is trying to locate 3 keys. Our adventurers get sort of teased some of this information, certainly at the Hungry Hobgoblin, which is a tavern which we saw right at the beginning here as we entered this new region. So this is our hub where the adventurers will be able to restock with supplies and get information. And there's a little table here. What are the free keys? One black, one white pearl, and a seashell horn. And then gives us some information as to where they are. Where is the white pearl? So we actually, who knows what? This is actually more for, of course, for the GM to make it really easy as to where these keys are, what information they need to pass on to players as they find things out, and ultimately what pages to go to be able to bring up that relevant information. So that's actually quite handy. This is good. Hello Lee, thank you for joining us tonight. We've just started looking through Path of Glory for Dragonbane. I did point out before that if you are a player, you might not want to watch. You don't want anything spoilt. But yes, the artwork is beautiful. It's really, really nice. So we got a little bit of section of rumours at the inn. I like all the little roll tables that they have with Dragonbane. Really nice. It's okay, you're a forever DM. Yeah, well, then this should be perfect for you. This should be perfect. Now, that's actually, because you say a DM and not a GM, I don't think there's any reason why, if you didn't have Dragonbane, but like the idea of this story and the types of encounters, this could quite easily be converted over, I believe. So, yeah. So what we got? We've got some various characters in the Hobgoblin, and we get a nice map there of the layout of the inn. So that's our hub that we will keep on coming back to. As I say, you can download these from the Free League website, and of course the Dragonbane starter set has those wonderful cardboard standees, so you can visualize the placement of characters within these map locations, and that's why that's what I like about Dragonbane. And I did mention before about that feel of it being like Diablo, a slightly more combat orientated RPG that I enjoy. I like that aspect of it. So when we move away from the Hobgoblin Inn, then we're off on our journey. And again, we get a callback here to the map. I just find that this one is obviously easier because of the way that the book is bound together. But we have, in fact, actually that points it out, doesn't it? This map is for the players' benefits with nice calligraphy. This one is for the GM. So we do actually have some of these key locations all nicely layered here. Yes, Lee, you are able to download the handouts from the Free League website. And if you purchase the PDF version of it, then of course you do get all of those in as well. I think the ones that you can download from the website are for the player facing. The layout in the book looks very clean and easy to read. Indeed it is. As I pointed out before, we've got this wonderful matte finish to the paper, which gives it that kind of older worldy sort of feel to it, but also just makes it really easy to read, and with my eyesight I appreciate that. So we have some random events. Again, rolling a D12. This is in the outer forest, and a D8 in the inner forest. Okay. I'm going to say then that this has got to be the outer forest, and this will be the inner forest, won't it? Tiny Amy, thank you for joining us. It's been a while. I'm very well. We're taking a look through Path of Glory for the Dragonbane RPG. So we've got a few random events here. We have a centaur that we might meet. Look at the art on this. Isn't this awesome? And, you know, I told you about looking out for little details. Is this our centaur? I think it is, isn't it? See, we've got these little bits here and here. You got to keep an eye open. Tiny Amy, you've never heard of Dragonbane. It's a Swedish RPG that first came out in the 1980s, but has been recently revitalized, republished by Free League Publishing. And this is an adventure campaign for the game. There are videos on the channel's YouTube profile where you can look at the starter set, the core rulebook, the bestiary, and now we're doing this one for the adventures. It's a great game. If you enjoy the video game of Diablo, you'll enjoy this kind of role-playing. Centaur art reminds me of old school Planescape art style. Right, well yes, it's that old school vibe, most definitely, most definitely. So, we've got these random events, we've got various encounters of characters, we've got the centaur, and here are these minotaurs, Grim and Grum. Now, it's kind of interesting that they are a random encounter that we might find in the Dead Forest, and in fact, I think that's them just there. And of course, they made it onto the front cover. But it's a random encounter. It's not as if that they are the big bad within this three-part epic adventure. So, I'm not sure why they got front billing. I believe that they were a fan favourite encounter or characters back when the game was first released. And maybe that's a bit of the callback on it. Maybe somebody in the chat who played the original, I'm going to have to get it right, hang on, Drakar Demona. Drakar Demona. We're going to go with that. Maybe somebody can tell us why these two characters, Grim and Grum, have such prominence. But again, artwork's beautiful. Loving this. This is brilliant. I really like these goblins. Goblins come in so many shapes and sizes and styles, and I like these. They're kind of got a slightly comedic-y sort of version to them. Reminds me of the old Games Workshop goblins of the 80s. So, yeah, beautiful. We got a band of elves we might meet. We might meet the Knight in Black. And what is quite cool about Dragonbane is that we get our statistics for our encounter, for our adversary, but they always have these charts for their attacks. And it's typically a D6 table, so they never attack in the same way. We've got our Minotaurs have the same, and so does our Centaur. So I always like the fact of that the encounters, the actual combat, it's not just going against the same thing over and over. There's something different each time, and that helps build up that little bit of story element. Makes your encounter unique to your experience around the table. So these were the encounters within the actual sort of random events throughout the Dead Forest. But then we have these major points that are highlighted on the map and some more that are not necessarily highlighted on. So what do we have? This is the Temple of the Winds. So we have more information to be able to relay to the players. We've got some nice maps here, and there's a bit more to do. We've got Elucia's house. Are we going to go with that? Elucia. Nice little map. Again, loving the design on this. The old barrow. And I think we've got a map over here. Yep, there we go. We have our map. We have our numbers for the various rooms. It's all just nice and clean. Couple of pages worth on each of these. I like this kind of sandbox style of play, and of course Free League do it with their other game that I absolutely adore, and that is Forbidden Lands. You guys are regulars, you've probably seen me show multiple versions of the obviously the core rules. We looked at the bestiary, then we looked at several of the campaign books. Just got one more book to have a look at eventually. But yes, there's a similar sort of energy as far as the how they lay out the adventures, and I really enjoy both of these games because of that reason. Aren't these cool? Again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but we're just going to enjoy some of these visuals. I like the fact of how locations are all quite unique. We've had some, we've had a little house, we've had some old barrows, we've now got this section of caves, with different things happening in each of these locations. This looks like it's a hobgoblin camp in some caves. We've got a treasure stash, troll cave. Ah, so is this multiple? I think this is. Oh, this is cool. So in fact, we have multiple cave entrances, to which then, yes we do, yes, A represents the treasure stash. The troll cave is on B. Oh, this is cool. Hobgoblins on C1. Look at this. And of course, this is going to be great to have your miniatures or your little cardboard standees exploring through these cave systems. And in fact, there we go, C1 and C2 and C4, because these are slightly higher up, weren't they? Depicted on that side on yet. C1, C2, C4. This is cool, I like it. So it's quite a lot for your players to do, isn't there? Lee, you're saying, oh, very nice map of the cave. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Deep Mire, we got the Hermit's Tent. So ultimately, as the players gone around, they have been exploring the Dead Forest, and they should pick up the 3 keys that they are looking for. And I think it's this Hermit's Tent in Deep Mire. Where's Deep Mire? Here it is. Oh, we saw that. We saw the pond. Oh, here we go. Is this the caves we just had a look at? There's the barrows. But where's his tent? I can see a little signpost there. We'll look for some of these details on a larger map. But ultimately we meet the hermit, which then takes us on to the conclusion. We have a great stone door to open. It has been sealed for many, many years, but if our adventurers have been successful in collecting these 3 items, we are able to break the seal on this door and move on then to the next chapter in the campaign. So this first part was what was originally released as 1 edition, and this is the second, and as we said right at the beginning, this book collates all 3 adventures together to 1 campaign. So this now is us going into a closed off dwarven realm. that has been closed to the outside for many, many years. And, of course, you know, you get that Moria vibe from this, don't you? We have a major bad in this particular adventure. We've had some hints about a big bad during the course of the first one, but now he's stepping up and we're actually going to have the opportunity to maybe face one of these big bads. I think actually this is the lieutenant. But again, it sets the scene for us. And so we start to have a bit of an overview now. Again, regulars to the channel will know that we took a look at the recent Moria expansion book for the One Ring role-playing game from Free League. And the amount of detail that was in that, really, really impressive. And this is kind of a similar sort of idea. It's just a bit more cut down, a bit more simple by comparison. But actually, because of the style of game, I really, really like this. So it's giving us tips to actually play this through, because there is a time element to actually being down in this kingdom. And I want to find... Again, they're using that style of showing us a side-on perspective. The halls of arrival, the halls of council, the forge, the city, the mine. So these are the 5 key locations. And because it's a dwarven city, it comes on different levels because it's built obviously into the mountain. But then what we get is we get that breakdown of these different regions, and each of the regions has a lot more detail to it. And we have various encounters within, and of course we find that there are obviously these halls are now overflowing with skeletons. Plenty of skeleton warriors to defeat. Again, different locations within. And just look at the detail that they go to in some of these. This is beautiful. So even though they only point out 5 locations, but each of those, I mean, this has got... Well, it's actually just carrying on the count, isn't it? So it carries on from 15 through to... Is that 38? It's beautiful. So there's so much to be discovered. And of course, some of these just have little stories in amongst themselves. I think this one caught my eye because this is a little baby dragon, and it's quite happy being in the brewing hall because I think it's kind of picked up a taste for some kind of alcohol down there, and doesn't really want to move and doesn't want to do much. But if you get in the way of its alcohol, it gets a little bit annoyed. But you leave it alone and it's quite happy. And I just thought, this alcoholic dragon, that's quite cool. We're into the city area here. Isn't this just great? So in fact, we're up to what, 50? Is that 50 locations within this underground city? No, it keeps on going because we're in the forge. Of course, if Dwarven City, there's got to be some mining, hasn't there? So there we go. 56 individual locations in this great Dwarven City. And again, we have a conclusion. Ultimately, we have defeated the main bad in this area, and we are then able to use the underground river, and we head to the Eastern Lands. So what I can do then is show you the Eastern Lands. Put that just over there. So here you go. So I think we come out here. And we have this brand new region to explore. And again, it follows in a similar style. So this is characters we're building up to the final confrontation. Similar idea, this is a nice sandbox for the players to explore. We have our random events, various peoples that we can meet, and then we have more details on those individual locations. And again, we have different styles of locations to actually go to. This is obviously a little town here, a little fortress with various buildings within it. Oh, I love the ducks. We got a fire demon. Again, artwork, just brilliant. Just really, really nice. We have another location here. Again, plenty of maps. And ultimately, oh yes, of course, I think we've said this before, haven't we? We've got our different attacks for our different major monsters that we might encounter. But again, from a GM perspective, everything's laid out just on these 2 pages. Well, it's very, very easy to be able to deliver the information and to be able to find it quite readily. Another location. We get to the Demon Tower. I feel like we're getting to close to the end here. And then we do have that final confrontation. And ultimately, we get to our conclusion. And this is where it wraps up. And then we have, these are the various handouts that you're able to give to your players. And that's basically it. Let's take a look at the poster map, because this is beautiful. This is the kind of thing that once you've played the game, you get this framed and put it on your wall. Look at this. This is gorgeous. So again, it's a nice matte finish. It's a tough paper stock, so it feels like it would survive a decent number of sessions. But I like all the little details that can be found here. Looks like we have some hobgoblins. We definitely have our minotaurs here. Looks like some kind of troll. We have a little house. Centaur. Maybe a little band of thieves. And then on the other side, we have the Eastern Lands. I went through this relatively quickly, but we saw Stonemouth and Otag. There's actually quite a few, isn't there? We've got the Wolf Peaks, Brinestead. And we got a dragon just there. So I think this will be a nice reveal for the players, in so much as a brand new region for them to explore. Oh, there we go. We have our sea serpent just there. So there you go. That is a relatively quick look at Dragonbane Path of Glory. As I said at the start, I really, really like it. I think this is a wonderful addition. Again, for me, Dragonbane is all brand new. I think that if you did play the game originally, you're going to really enjoy this new version of it. For new players, I think it's still got a lot to offer. I personally like the way that it deals with encounters, the way that it has a sandbox style of adventuring, so that you have total freedom to go to different locations, see what's there, do a little bit of inquiries, typically find somebody to kill, do that, move on to the next. It is that Diablo style of gameplay, or certainly that's what I sort of feel about it, and I really like that. So production value of the book is fantastic. Cartography of the map is absolutely beautiful. The artwork is amazing throughout. Very, very easy to read. Very easy to go and find key information as you're actually scanning through. Yeah, I really like it. Really do. So I hope that I'll be able to bring it to the table soonish and have a go. But yeah, really excited to do so. Really good fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. I get the impression that Dragonbane is a game line that they are very keen to support. Obviously, with its long heritage in Sweden, and I'm sure there must be more of these original adventures. We've just got to wait for them to be released. So, looking forward to it. Right. There we go. That was Dragonbane Path of Glory from Free League Publishing. This week, we're actually doing 3 shows. So we've got a show tomorrow evening and then one on Thursday. So tomorrow evening, what are we going to be taking a look at? We are going to be taking a trip out to the Final Frontier. We have a advanced copy of Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition starter set. The pre-order for this starter set is now live on the Modiphius Entertainment website, and they have very generously provided an advanced copy for us to go and explore. So have your phasers on stun and get ready for warp speed as we break the seal on the box and see what is inside. So that is our show tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock. We then, of course, do have a show on Thursday evening, but you'll find out about that tomorrow. So, thanks very much, everybody, for joining me tonight. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, but until then, bye for now.